Works. Right, hello everyone and thank you for having me here at the Future of Cybersecurity conference. It's absolutely lovely to be back here with you all once again. It has been a while, so I have got many notes to go through just to keep me on track. So what am I talking about today? Today I am talking about cybersecurity at every altitude, from OT to outer space with Optimism. Now, I know what you're thinking, that is a mouthful, and I bet you couldn't say that after a few drinks, and you would be right. So what am I going to waffle on about for the next 15 minutes? I want to bring positivity back into cybersecurity. I want to touch on the latest space and OT security headlines, see what language you are faced with from the media, and help you reshape your mind and turn the negatives into positives. But first things first, there's no doubt there are some new faces in the audience, which is lovely to see, but you're probably wondering who the heck I am to be talking to you about positivity and also cyber. So, who am I? I'm Amanda Crossley. I'm a mum to 2 girls. Youngest has just started high school, and that aged me overnight, and I have got the mega attitude issues flying at me every day. I am a fiancée to one, who's that stood at the back there supporting me. I have a crazy Doberman. I'm quirky, as you can see. I'm bubbly, patient, extremely stubborn and persistent, and they're qualities you've pretty much got to have in our industry, as you know. But where have I come from? I am currently the lead for cyber and information security at BAE Systems. I'm working in the cloud environment at the moment. Previously, I was a cybersecurity business analyst, working in a security architecture team, primarily working on OT, modern OT and legacy equipment. Before that, I was an information security analyst, and I dealt with incidents, data transmissions, other bits and pieces. Sometime earlier than that, I also ran my own concierge business in the hospitality sector. I'm ex-military, as you might be able to tell. And I've also worked as a receptionist at a casino, so I've worn many, many hats in my life. But what else is there to know about me? I like the usual. I like being in nature, paddle boarding, forcing my kids to endure long walks, winding said kids up, you know, the usual. So, but first, the basics. So my passions, as Serve's already alluded to, I love OT and space security. I bang on about it all the time because I just find it so fascinating. I first fell in love with OT security when an adversary hacked into a casino in America via a fish tank thermometer. I thought that was absolutely brilliant, but also I wanted to learn how to stop it and where else there were holes in other obscure places. But first, let's give you a very quick overview on what is OT security. So when I touch on these headlines later, you understand what we're going on about and the complexities. This is for those new into these subjects, so those who are already veterans in OT and space security, I apologise if I am not doing this justice enough. But here we go. Think about the things that we rely on a daily basis: heating, water, food production factories, GPS navigation systems, electronics, electricity. Now think about one of those, just one of those went down. Have you ever had a power outage? You can understand the complexities and the stress that goes into that when it's just in your own home. So imagine that disruption on a wider scale. What about if that critical infrastructure, if we stick with electricity, was taken over by a threat actor? What if they had control of those electricity systems that we rely on a daily basis? A normal power cut, that's simple. We wait for engineers to come out. We wait our allotted time for it to come back on. That's easy. But if a threat actor has taken over that electricity grid, for example, that's it. We haven't got that control. They could switch it on, they could keep it off. They could keep it off for hours, days, weeks, months if they wanted to. It is that serious. And obviously when we're talking about just electricity and you're thinking, oh, well, it's just a power cut at home. What about hospitals? Those industries that actually rely on electricity. So having these security basics in place for OT security is absolutely massive. So OT, or operational technology, is the protection of any item which isn't a traditional system. We're talking about machines that are connected to a network, but not like your traditional computers. We're talking about machinery, productions, that sides of things. But the complexity starts because a lot of these machines are pre-built. They're pre-built without security controls put in place beforehand, which is an issue. If you're there at the forefront, we can stick all those controls in. But afterwards, trying to put security controls in place is difficult because you could affect the whole operation of that machine. And we're talking about health and safety issues, serious life and death issues at this point. But this is why I love OT security. So in IT systems, the CIA triad, we look at confidentiality, integrity, and availability. With OT systems, we look at the availability first. How do we keep that machine operational? Then the integrity, and then the confidentiality. But what is space security? So space security is very similar to OT security. We're dealing with a big machine, or a little machine, because they are getting quite small these days, up in outer space. There's a lot of people that we rely on our systems. We do, for example, but also those who are actually living in outer space. These people need protecting. When you put a satellite up there, it's similar with the operational technology. We cannot put security controls in place on that machine once it's in orbit. Hopefully, technology will advance where that is plausible and possible when it comes with the AI, but at the moment, that is not there. So, as you can probably see from my previous slides, like I say, I love talking about OT and space security. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to do a talk on those two subjects and try and ignite them conversations within you. But I took a step back from social media from a little while ago, and when I went back on it, I was just put with negativity after negativity as I was scrolling through. And it just drags you down. And in certain instances, like the news, I have to take a chunk away from it, because I just start hating the world a little bit if I get sucked in there too much. But there are a lot of fascinating articles. There are a lot of really, really good things that do need to be highlighted. There's a lot of things that do need to be said, and we need to empower people a lot more in it. But when the articles and the headlines are saying, satellites hacked, it's not going to empower anyone. It's just causing fear and scaremongering, and it's not causing anything good in the world. So yes, like I said, don't get me wrong, the majority of these subjects in cyber definitely need to be spoken about, but it does get dragging you down. Then I started looking at my cybersecurity career as a whole, and I was trying to figure out where there was positives, and I couldn't find any. And that's not to say I hate cyber and I hate my job. I love my job. But I couldn't find a time where I actually walked away elevated. Or I walked away going, that was a cracking day, that was absolutely brilliant. And I was struggling to do that. So that is why I want to put positivity back into cyber. I want to do this, and so that we can help empower each other. So let's have a look at the recent OT headlines. Let's look at the media of what we're actually faced with. So these are quite recent. Russian APT attacks Kazakhstan's largest oil company. Russian hacktivists take aim at Polish power plant again. Water systems under attack. Norway, Poland blame Russia actors. Systems shot. EV smart charging tech poses cyber race. Patch now attackers target OT networks. So as you can see, the actual headlines that we're faced with, there is not a lot of positivity coming from that at all. And obviously that is one of the most recent ones. What about the space headlines? Let's have a look. When satellites go dark, persistent cyber attacks and a growing blind spot. Space law crisis, outer space security in an insecure world. Why blow up satellites? We could just hack them. White hat hackers expose Iridium satellite security flaws. White House security staff warn must Starlink is a security risk. And it goes on and on and on. So how can we find positivity when we're faced with these sorts of images and these sorts of wordings on a daily basis? Thankfully, as you can see with these, there wasn't very many horror stories when it comes to space security, but that doesn't mean the threat isn't there. It just means it hasn't advanced up to that point yet. The threat for space security is very, very real. Just like OT security and the attacks that are coming more and more popular, I think we are going to get to a point where space security is going to have, we are going to have to look at it a little bit more seriously before it gets worse. Oh, missed one, sorry. But I can hear you all saying, but Amanda, all these negatives though, where's the positives? So let's have a look. So let's change some of these headlines. I'm running out of time, so I won't go through them all. But as you can see, some of the case studies that we've got here, let's take case study 3, for example. So manufacturing ransomware. You've got the headline, manufacturing remains prime ransomware target. So what happened? Ransomware forced shutdowns in global manufacturers. The weaknesses was the IT and OT crossovers, which is pretty normal with OT systems. But what's the positive spin? The highlighted need for segmentation. The OT asset inventory and proactive incident response. So there are positives within the background of these headlines. We just don't ever get to see the positives. Simulation-proof storage and fast response can mitigate risk, leaving operators at roadmap. Security ones. So let's do the GNS jamming and spoofing. So obviously we've got interference threats, which is the norm at the minute with Russia, unfortunately. So there is a rise in jamming and spoofing. We've got heavy reliance on GNSS and weak fallback systems, which is quite normal at the minute. But driving anti-spoof tech, we are trying to get those technologies up there. We are trying to invent new technologies to eradicate jamming and spoofing. It is taking its time, but we are getting there. But what else is positive cybersecurity? We can change your mindset, we can change the way that you think, and when you look at when you're looking at headlines, trying to put a positive spin on it, it does drag you down though, so I understand that. What else can we do? So this is what you can do. This is how you can shift the narrative within yourself, within your family, within your friends, and within your team. Share the positive wins. Just do something within your team. If you have that influence, once a week, just do a little mini team win. What have you won for that week? Highlight any success stories that are in your business, or in your family, or in your life. What have you protected yourself against? What have you done that is making you and the world a bit secure, a better way? Reframe challenges, turn the incidents into lessons and opportunities. What have you got out of that? What are the good things that you've got out of that? Everyone hates an incident. It doesn't look good. We all know that. But what have you got out of it? There must be something that you've achieved. And be resilience ambassadors. Lead by example. Have you got security champions in your workplace? I know that we have in our team. We have security champions who aren't security-minded people. They are engineers, they are HR. You know, these people that are security advocates and who are pushing forward that positivity. Collaborate, trust, just trust in each other. It's difficult, we're all in security, we don't trust anyone and we're all paranoid as hell. But promise me, just trust each other and we'll get through it together. But why does it matter? The people are at the heart of every system. They're the ones that make it, they're the ones that break it, and they're the ones that help protect it. The technology are the tools that connect and protect. So we need those tools, but we need the people empowered with that fire burning in the belly to protect them properly. And we need them to use the technology for good, not flip over onto the bad side. We don't want that. And hope, yeah, it's cheesy, I know. But we want a safer future. We want a resilient future. We want people to be able to pass this knowledge on generation to generation, far beyond where we are, and to be able to just bring positivity back, because otherwise, with all those headlines, you're going to be dragged down. And I think I am nearly finished. So last slide. Cybersecurity isn't just about stopping attacks, it's about enabling futures. We are enablers. Every one of you here is an enabler. So please, if anything you take away from my keynote, is just try and put some positivity back into it with a smile on your face. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you very much.